Ohio State enters this season with a quarterback that has a proven track record, and they have certainly competed for national championships with quarterbacks who had never thrown a pass or who had limited time, like a Justin Fields, to rate where they stood. But Will Howard is at least has a very high floor, if nothing else. We know that he's a dependable quarterback. Do you think it's just a matter of getting him ready for the season, or if there is a legitimate quarterback competition?
I would say it's somewhere in the middle. I think you do need to get him ready for the season. Like I said with Seth McLaughlin, you don't bring a guy like that to Columbus, to Ohio State, without the expectation that he will be your starter. But you also don't just give anyone the job. You want them to compete, and they've got to show it. And I don't think Will Howard did that in spring. We've talked to Will Howard a couple times now, and he admitted partway through spring practice that it was not as easy as a transition as maybe he thought, just because, you're uprooting your life and moving everything and all that comes with that. But also you are going from a Kansas State offense with Kansas State athletes. And again, I'm not trying to slight Kansas State, but Will Howard's top pass catcher last year was his tight end. Now you're throwing to guys like Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Inniss. I mean, it speeds up everything, the rush speeds up, all of that. And so it took him some time to settle in and get comfortable with everything that was happening around him and getting the ball to these guys on time and things like that, getting used to his teammates and the offense. And I think by the end of spring, you started to see the Will Howard that the Buckeyes wanted out of the transfer portal. He was, in the spring game, think of that, efficient passing, still maybe not the downfield passer you would have liked, but getting the ball out to his weapons, using his legs, which I think will be big. And that experience, when you get into some of those games, Oregon on the road, Penn State on the road, he's been in big time battles, right? He had to basically carry Kansas State to the Big 12 championship game a few years ago, in the Big 12 championship game a few years ago. So he knows how to get the job done. This will be the most talent he's ever had around him. And, how he uses it, we'll see. But that is the belief in Will Howard. Now, Devin Brown, despite never being able to show it to fans because of injuries and whatnot, is also a quarterback that the Buckeyes like. And look, if Devin Brown had stayed healthy and had a good Cotton Bowl, I think he goes into the offseason as the quarterback, and you don't even necessarily go to the transfer portal. Maybe Ohio State still brings in, a Julian Sayin because he becomes available, but you're not necessarily going out to find another starter because Devin Brown's going to be your guy. So I do think that there's a competition to be had during fall camp. If Will Howard doesn't build on the way he finished spring, then Devin Brown's going to have an opportunity to win that job. But if I'm looking in my crystal ball, I think you look to August 31st and that opening a game against Akron, Will Howard's your quarterback unless something crazy happens.
Pat Murphy's here breaking down the Buckeyes. Catch Pat's work on Bucknuts 247 Sports.